Guys, I am here with Pastor George Markey. As you've gotten to know him, the pastor of Calvary Chapel, Kiev, and we've been trying to do these frontline reports. And today, it's kind of been a heavy 24, 48 hours. George, it feels like the rest of the world is catching up to what you've been seeing and hearing in these reports. Just hearts are breaking. The veil is being lifted on these places like Bucha and Mariupol, and it's really gut wrenching. But as you're been hearing these reports and seeing these things, for the pastors that are maybe hearing this for the first time, what's some things that you can be telling us? You've been meeting some of these people that are coming out of these places. You've been interfacing with the guys on the front lines that are getting them out. I know your heart's heavy for your nation and what the world is starting to see. What's going on for you today as you're hearing all this?
It's just it's mind-boggling. Just the evil that is senseless destruction. There's different things: anger, grief. Wanting to just do all you can to end this, and for people to know. You want people to know what's going on. So that there can be a response, to this, and prayers, and doing whatever we can to end this. I don't know what else to tell you. It's just heartbreaking.
Yeah, it's definitely, I think people who are starting to hear, and see these reports, I think they're understanding why. I don't know what the most recent numbers, whether it was like 10 million now that have been displaced, a good 4 million out of the country. It's because of all these things that are happening, that people are trying to find safety. This is really overwhelming. Now, as some of the, ground is being retaken around Kyiv, and we're seeing the troops kind of remobilizing along the east, as we're getting these reports, it's also giving us a call to action in terms of aid. Some of these places, these hospitals, these front lines, you're getting, inundated like every couple hours, every couple of days. We're getting new requests. We've now put together this large list of medical supplies. Tell us a little bit about, what we've been able to see God do in terms of getting some of these supplies to places, and why, they're now reaching out to us for more and more of this urgent, aid.
Yeah. Well, God's blessed us. There's been some medicines that nobody's been able to get in, but there's been just a huge need for it. Like there's insulin, some other ones, and we've been able to get some in. We got two loads of insulin in, and because of that, it's given us even more credibility. More people reaching out saying, "Please help us." We have a great, again, the network we have in Ukraine has been really helpful. But we're getting more and more people wanting legitimate needs. So it's made it even more imperative that we really get more suppliers, have more of those connections so we can be faster. Because that can be the frustrating things, like, okay, we have the people who need it. We have the supply, the pipeline. Okay, how can we get more supplies? And of course, needing funds for that. And of course, so, that's a need as well.
So you and I are trying to tackle this new project. In the last 48 hours, we got our medical team interfacing with, hospital in Kiev, these generals that are with this civilian defense force that are obviously treating people on the front lines. And we've got this list now of just a number of medications, and we're sourcing warehouses, international, national. And, but when we start putting on these numbers, you and I we're looking at a God-sized request. This is like part the Red Sea stuff. We're getting probably in the $1 million range of needs, and that's just like what's urgent. There's going to be an ongoing, desire for some of this kind of stuff. So just as you and I are talking right now, and people are praying, and we're just maybe trying to fan the flame of faith, what can we maybe encourage those people that are, saying, how can we help? We see this stuff on the front lines. We want to do something. But there are urgent opportunities to get life-saving medications into the hands of people that can use it, like right now. Correct?
That's correct. Yeah. Yeah. And give because, we're partnering also with some really big hitters, and which has been really helpful. Just it's really been cool to see that the partnering, because we're all trying to do the same thing. So we're trying to just share information. But and our we have a great team that are just there. They've put together, so they put hours into getting this list prepared, and so we can have it and get it out to the suppliers. And this is what we need, so it could be get things quickly. The other thing you can do is I think start putting together, as churches put together some containers, and again, we can give directions on that, what's needed, because this is there's long-term needs. And so there's not going to be a shortage of needs for food, for medicine. So, it's one thing we're asking right now is for churches to start putting together containers to send over. And we will help, with the list, with where to send it, the things you need.
Yeah, you guys are finding that when you bring in food, you almost have to slow the rush, because some of these people haven't seen access to food and basic supplies. And so knowing that there's obviously a shortage because of the war zone of crops and these kind of things, and then the food insecurity of being able to, because supply chains have been disrupted. I mean, this is immediate, urgent things that are going to be ongoing, is even preparing for the coming difficult weather months. We've got to start preparing now, to get them these resources now and later. As we're thinking about this, and yes, for people that would like to give, we're going to be creating this specific, way of getting these funds taken care of. We're going to probably in the next 24 hours have a budget and know how people can give directly, so we can get these medical supplies in. But beyond the medical and the food, you've been seeing gospel opportunities in the middle of all of this. Tell us a little bit about, even the last 24 hours, the next couple of days. I mean, because everybody's watching, there's been open doors of just compassion and grief and people being able to connect. Tell us a little bit about these gospel opportunities for these not yet believers. I love that term that you were using earlier.
Yeah. Again, in the midst of this tragedy, there's incredible opportunities, and that's one thing I want to keep before people, and also just help the believers. I know that Ukraine's been traumatized and all that stuff, but just helping them, also locals here in the countries, see these just amazing opportunities. So just as an example, it was a couple weeks ago. I was in the park near our house, and it's a huge park, so there's a lot of people there. I'm always hearing Ukrainian, Russian, because in Ukraine, just so you know, they speak Ukrainian and Russian. But hearing this, and I'll just go up and say, hey, where are you guys from? And so I met some that were from Bucha, and this is before all this. They actually, it had been freed, and they covered all these atrocities. I mean, although we knew things were bad were happening there. Anyway, so she's from Bucha, this lady, her mom, European, just horrific stories. But they were helped by Adventists, evangelicals, and got out. And so they're like, and during this time, these guys would pray. They would feel those prayers, they would feel this peace. And so right away, there's an opening door. I'm a pastor, we're working on this. And they're like, oh, wow, and one, the mom cries, and I just, able to just comfort a bit, and then pray for him. And they want me to pray for him, meeting, got us open doors here to meet our neighbors, it's an incredible story how it happened. But, and I just am overwhelmed by their just wanting to help. Like, what do you guys need? And these aren't, Christians, as far as I know, right? Or not yet believers, as I call them. I believe God, I say that because I believe God is always at work in somebody's life. The Holy Spirit's working, and we don't know, what's going on until we really find out. So anyway, just a long story short, they've been helping out, been coming over for coffee, just, working together. So Thursday, I'm going to have them come over. I invited our neighbors over, and some from our Ukrainian team are coming. I want them just to meet, and of course, my desire is that they would know Jesus, right? I mean, and love them. But I just see that happening as we build relationships and just share our hearts, our stories, learn their stories, right? But also just in the last Sunday, I was in the park, and I don't know, it seemed to me like half of the people there, and there's I don't know, at least 100, 200 people maybe, at least half of them are Ukrainians, because I'm just hearing. And so I'll stop and I'll hear it, and I'll look at the person, and they'll look back, and I'll say, I'll say the Ukrainian greeting, and they light up. It's like, wow, and so I get to know their stories, where they're from, what they're doing here. And again, it's just like, I think what comes to mind is the fields are white for harvest. If I would, what I'm trying to do right now is, again, there's the urgent needs, but I'm really hoping, I want to try to spend more time as more people are taking these other things on, help mobilize the believers here, Ukrainians, like just to see the white fields that are white for harvest. Just, it's very simple. Just go out to the park, go out to your, there's Ukrainians all around, wherever you are. I mean, if you know English or whatever, go ask their story. Tell me about yourself, or use Google Translate. But we're hoping to start some of these, even some kind of training, like invite church people to come out and say, hey, we're from Ukraine. We want to help you. If you guys want to help reach Ukrainians, we'd like to talk to you. And just give them some simple ideas, because I think one of the most powerful things is as they make these connections, open up their homes, go out and drink coffee with these people. So we want to have a meeting on, I think it's be Saturday in the church, and make it a neutral kind of thing. Like believers come, not yet believers, have food, music. Have some of our guys play music, share. Some people share stories, but make it more about really just these connections, and then train the believers. Like give them, talk about it beforehand. Hey, we're trying to make connections. We're trying to build relationships. Maybe you'll find someone that lives near you, or you really connect with, just about
Love it.
Talk.
Yeah. And that's such, a big part of your heart, such a big part of the reason why, God has given you so many different connections, relationships, is that, part of the kingdom. And I think that's one of the things we're praying for, is this revival, to see these gospel seeds being planted and harvested in the midst of the softness of the brokenness. And, for again, just as we're recapping here, and we're still seeing evacuations. We got one of these, girls out who, her and a sister who was pregnant, like coming down to the last day. And it's just, we're still seeing these miraculous stories coming out of these hard hit areas.
Yeah.
But as people are, hearing and hearts are being broken for what's going on, there are urgent needs in terms of medical and food. We are engaged right now in raising some funds, probably in the $1 to $2 million range. So we're going to be casting some really broad vision and just asking people to pray and see how God might do the miraculous in terms of getting these resources in the right hands. And then here with these gospel seeds that are going on, just that God would use this time to comfort, encourage, and like you said, love people into the kingdom. And so we'll continue to keep those links. People can be giving via Calvary Chapel San Diego. And then as we get some more clarity on this particular, medical need and the resources that we're putting together, if churches want to partner with that, they can reach out to us directly. We'll put the links down there. And we're just going to ask, just like through the resurrection, like, God, there's nothing that's impossible for you. So George, thank you for taking some time. I know it's late for you, but just giving an update to all these churches and pastors and people that are praying alongside with you. We want to be lifting up your hands, and we'll zero back in a couple of days just to give an update, in terms of what the actual need looks like. So again, thank you, George. Thank you for your heart. Thank you for what you're doing. We're grateful for how God's using you in this whole team.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right. God bless, George.